I freaking hate the phrase fake it till you make it. That is false to me. No, it should be I'm going to have faith that I'm going to make it, and I'm going to work until I make it. I'm taking anything. I'm going to put in the work. I'm going to learn. I'm going to grow. I'm going to make mistakes, but I'm going to keep going.
Welcome to the Leadership Sovereignty Podcast, where we focus on leadership principles to help you grow and excel in your career. In this week's episode of Speaking Truth to Power Part 6, Phillip focuses on the fact that true leadership is earned through action and not appearances. Faith means movement, which means continuously working even through setbacks. And your legacy is what you build in the dark, not what you do in the spotlight. Enjoy the show.
I'm going to stick with ESPN because my word is my bond. Yes. And the reason why I'm saying this is we're going to face challenges all day long. And we have to say, I'm not going to be discouraged that they're going to put me through 30 interviews. I'm going to treat the 29th and the 30th interview as if it's the first one. I'm going to help them know beyond a shadow of a doubt that I am the right candidate and that the only reason why we get in these positions is because we've earned it. That's right. I can say that in my career. I've never been given a position based on my color, based on my sex, based on anything that I could do other than doing the job. Because
other than delivering.
Wow. Because if you don't deliver, you're not going to be there. And the reason why we're still in these positions is because we're delivering. Now, it doesn't mean we're doing it perfect. We go through the same stuff everybody else goes through, but what we have to do is go, if it takes 30, it takes 30. If it takes one, it takes one. And we can't let ourselves get discouraged that our path may be longer. The important thing is to the journey and then getting to the destination. Everybody's journey is different, but we can all have the same destination. So I tell, especially young people, when you don't get something, don't give up, don't get upset. Take the time to go, what happened? What could I have learned from? How can I improve my skills? Be willing to take jobs that you normally wouldn't take. I remember many a time my wife getting upset with me. Why would you take that? You're getting underpaid, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I'm doing this because I'm trying to build a foundation. This is going to give me what I need to compete for another job. Oh, I'm staying later. I'm taking the project nobody else wants and they think it's going to be a failure because I'm going to take this thing and turn it into something successful. I'm going to prove to my boss that I'm willing to take risks and that I'm going to check in with him or her and I'm going to talk to him and I'm going to let them know what I'm thinking. Probably the best advice I ever got in my life. I remember being a young guy working at Chevron and I wanted to distinguish myself from my colleagues. And I took on this project that I was going to do all by myself. And I remember my boss saying, it's a good effort, but it would have been much better had you included your colleagues. They would have helped you see around corners. They would have helped you see the things that you can't see. And we all know as coders, I love telling this to young developers all the time. Comment your code. Have other people do code review. And they're like, well, why? I'm brilliant. I know you are.
Yeah.
But when you're doing it, you can't, the code is in your head. It's perfect in your head. It ain't perfect on paper. It's not perfect, on a computer. Yeah. So you want someone who is not as engaged, but has the knowledge to see it in ways that you can't see it. And that you've got to be willing to humble yourself, to take feedback, to take criticism, and grow from it. The best coaches I've ever had in my life were the ones that were tough on me. The ones that told me, okay, so you failed, see you at practice in the morning, and a lot of young people and even older people do this. they tend to work on their strengths and they neglect their weaknesses. Because they think if I get stronger, it'll just overshadow, and I gotta say this, I freaking hate the phrase fake it till you make it. That is false to me. No, it should be, I'm gonna have faith that I'm gonna make it, and I'm gonna work until I make it. I'm taking anything. Sure. I'm gonna put in the work, I'm gonna learn, I'm gonna grow, I'm gonna make mistakes, but I'm gonna keep going. So the thing is that we've got to be willing to be uncomfortable, be comfortable with being uncomfortable, be comfortable with being the only one. You can find a sense of community. A lot of times being the only person there, if you open your mouth and you deal, like I was explaining this to my wife this morning, and she's like, well, aren't you worried about people misunderstanding your message? And I'm like, no, because my message is universal. We all face the same challenges. That's all I'm doing is talking about, this is how I did it.
That's right.
We all deal with doubt, self-talk. We can overcome it, but we overcome it by practicing it. I had a coach that once told me, I remember we ran a play 20 times in a row and everybody's getting tired. And he called me over because I was the captain. And he was like, when are you going to show me that you're the captain? And I'm like, what do you mean I am? He's like, no, show me. What he was saying was, get in that huddle, tell your teammates, if it takes us doing it 21 times, we're going to do it. And then we're going to do it one more time because we're going to perfect it. Because when we perfect the play and then we learn all the variables, when things happen that we don't expect to happen and we know how to react to it, we're going to execute flawlessly. I was reminded, and I know some people out there probably hate this because I'm from Columbus, Ohio, because I'm a diehard Buckeye fan. And the thing that pleased me the most about them winning the national championship last year was learning about the conversation they had after they lost to Michigan again. And people forget they beat Michigan 12 out of 13 years. There was no complaining on Ohio State side, but everybody losing their minds because they lost a tough game 4 times in a row. And they had a family meeting where they called each other out. They made a commitment to one another that if this be the last game we play, we're going to give everything. We're going to make sure that no stone has been left unturned. We're going to do whatever it takes. And that when they played in their home stadium and saw all that orange and saw all those people from Tennessee that was going to make it a home game, and they decided, you know what? They're going home disappointed tonight because we're going to go at them and we're going to be relentless and we're going to keep going. There is no different than you being in the boardroom at the corporation. It's the same stuff. I'm going to approach my work like it's my last day, and I'm going to give everything that I have, and I'm going to give to my team, and we're going to work and work and work and work. We're going to outwork people. And if we are honest with each other, if we work together and we believe in one another and we celebrate one another, we're going to overcome this and we're going to be left standing. And on the job, the job is your work family. Yeah. And we got to learn how to communicate. I had a couple people on my team that from day one were against me from the very beginning.
Hey, family. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to another episode of the Leadership Sovereignty Podcast. We truly appreciate you, whether this is your first episode or you've been rocking with us since day one. Here at Leadership Sovereignty, our mission is simple: to bring you real stories, raw conversations, and timeless leadership wisdom from incredible guests to help you grow in your leadership and your career. But we can't do this without you. If today's episode inspired you, challenged your thinking, or gave you something to grow on, we want to hear from you. Visit our website at leadershipsovereignty.com and leave us a review and let us know how the show is impacting your journey. Consider making a donation because every dollar helps us to continue producing this show with excellence. And of course, like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. Your support keeps the platform alive, and it helps us reach even more listeners, invite even more powerful voices to the table, and continue serving a growing community of purpose-driven leaders like you. So thank you for being the best part of this movement. Let's keep building, let's keep growing, and let's keep leading together. Now back to the show.
And they worked every day to try to tarnish my reputation, convince people that I wasn't good at what I do. And I'm like, but is that not life? Is that not the enemy? The enemy's working against us constantly. And I told this to my wife, I can't get caught up into the tactics of the enemy. I've already got the victory. It's already been promised.
Sure.
Now what I got to do is walk into it. I've got to work into it. And then I just got to keep going, keep smiling. And no matter what setback, just know that the sun is going to come up tomorrow. God still sits on the throne.
Yes,
and
he
I am
does.
still his
Yes,
pal.
sir. Yes, sir. That's it. That's it. I've often heard faith looks like movement. You see what I'm saying? So I can believe all I want, but there has to be something attached to it to have that fruitful outcome. You know, one of the things, Phil, that you mentioned about the impactful book being the autobiography of Malcolm X, and you kind of hit on it a little earlier, you know, on the pre-show talk about just how his truth changed over time, right? Because of exposure.
Yeah.
And so I started smiling when you were talking about that, because I have my youngest, well, actually my wife has my youngest son reading that book. And the very thing that you talked about is what my son Noah found as well. He said, Dad, Mom, because we were talking to him about it, it was the evolution, right? And how truth, I don't want to say that truth evolves, but as we get exposed, what we believe to be true, or our position or our better understanding, because sometimes our understanding about a topic is limited, right? And so maybe talk about that a little bit as, right, there's so many parallels to this, right? Sometimes it's how you approach a job, right? I'm sure there's some information that you're sharing today that folks are thinking, oh man, I've been approaching that challenge at work totally different. So now they're having to reposition themselves, right? Because now the truth that they know is clearer, right? And so just talk about maybe just a little bit about that evolution, as you know, as a human being, right? And it's okay to admit to yourself, yeah, I didn't necessarily execute that the best way I could have, because maybe my information was limited.
Well, to me, it is studying to show yourself approved.
That's great.
And you're constantly learning and constantly growing. And, you know, the question is, when is a project done? In reality, you know, I was actually sharing this with the team the other day. The project is never really done. The coding never really stops. You know, the question is when do we reach the point of the acceptance criteria? When do we reach a point where the customer is willing to accept it? But then what we want to do is keep iterating on it. We want to keep growing it. We want to keep making it better.
Oh, that's
we
good.
want to keep thinking about what other problems are we facing? What other factors have changed? What are other things that we can do to drive more revenue or to make the job easier for our colleagues? You know, so we have to become students of the process, students of the problem, you know, and, you know, most people want a beginning, a middle, and an end. In technology, there is no end. It is evolving daily.
Always.
That's awesome.
You know,
That's great.
now I recently ran into a situation. My wife loves to debate me on this because she says, "Don't you get in trouble saying this and stop talking?" You know, I tell her that it bothers me about the AI boom. And we were at a conference, and I had two people from Google come up to me, and they're trying to talk to me about AI. And at one point, I said, "Do you understand who you're talking to?" And they're like, well, yeah. And I said, "Why haven't you talked to me about machine learning? Why haven't you talked to me about large language models? Why haven't you talked to me about the development of your algorithm and who's involved in it? Why haven't you talked to me about the ethics? Why haven't you talked to me about, when you're using generative AI and it's spitting out information, that information could be wrong? Did you think about the biases?" And I mean, by then, there was a whole crowd of people around us. And then I made the statement, "Do not come trying to sell me this based on your appearance." And both these people were incredibly good looking people. I'm like, "You're talking to someone who, this is my business.
Right.
I am a steward. They're trusting me to make the right decisions." So I said, "I will listen to you guys when you address those things that I raised." And then I posed a question, how is this different from the .com era? Because I said, "Nah, y'all are young, so y'all probably don't remember this. But I remember when everybody was out doing websites and everybody was like, and everybody became an expert." So I started talking to them about, how much is it going to cost for me to run the language models? And that, show me where your solution has generated revenue. I'm not saying that it hasn't automated a process or made something smoother.
Right.
Show me the ethics. Show me, who is making the decision. So I said, when you answer those questions for me, then I will take your meeting and will gladly have you come see us at the Mass. Those people have not shown up yet. And this was over a year ago. Now, doesn't mean that they eventually won't figure it out. But what I'm trying to get them to understand is that we're in the business to make money. We play basketball to make money. We play basketball to entertain, but it's to make money. All right. And I'm not going to just put out something because it's sexy, because it's the way everybody else is trying to do it. Most people, if they really knew what they were talking about and really knew the amount of money they're going to spend, and they're constantly going through that, if I spend this, what's the earned value that I'm going to get? Then they're going to see we're not ready for prime time yet to go whole hog in this. But there are other forms that, it'll be great with helping us create this process or automate. Yeah, let's do that. But we're not just going to whole hog sell the farm because it's the latest buzz. But I'll tell folks that, look, you've got to be willing to be relentless, be fearless, be humble. You keep working, you surround yourself with good people, and you keep going, because it's continual. And that, if you're willing to put in the work, like I told my wife I was coming today to the office to not only take this, but I was going to put in a couple extra hours on some things because we need to do it. I'm the leader. And it's the things that you do that people don't see that's more impactful than the things you do that people do see. So I hope I answered your question. I don't know if I answered it the way that I actually.
No. It was about like things evolving, right? And that's I think that's spot on.
Yeah.
So Ralph, man, I know this has been there's just so much in here to unpack.
Man,
Phil,
this is
you've
so rich,
been
man.
so great. I think there's so many things that people that are just gonna chew on this a while.
Wow. Well, at the end of the day, I've asked myself this question daily. What is your legacy? Because I know that, if I keep shaving and I keep the gray away, maybe I can trick them into thinking I'm still a little younger. Maybe we can get about 10 years more into this before it's all over. But I think about legacy now. I think about when you leave here, did you make it a better place?
Yes.
Who did you help? Who did you help put on the path? And it's no longer about how much money I'm making. It's more about, did I serve the people well today? Did my customer, it's no greater joy for me than when we've done something that's helped our customer, the people that we support, do their jobs better, and they just say thank you. That means a lot to me, because it tells me that we're doing the right thing. And God has blessed us with this wisdom.
Yes.
And he's blessed us with this to share, to give away freely.
Yes.
And anybody who's willing to listen, I just want them to be successful. I'm no longer chasing this person or that person or trying to get over that person. It's no longer in my realm of thinking. All I think about is that we do the best that we could do today.
Thank you for listening to the Leadership Sovereignty Podcast. If this content blessed or helped you in any kind of way, support us today by subscribing to our YouTube channel, clicking the like button for this episode, and sharing this content with others that you think it will help. Until next time, stay safe, peace, and blessings.